take those giant floral images and make a super simple card with them. Hi everyone, my name is Brennan and welcome to
Brennan's Crafty Corner.
Hey everyone, my name is Brennan and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited for this video because this is the first time in like almost 6 months, I think, that I filmed a full-length, pre-recorded card tutorial. I'm so happy with how it came out and so excited to share it. So I'm really hoping you guys end up enjoying this. Today, we're going to be taking our fairly large floral image and doing one of my favorite techniques, Emboss Resist, and making a really, really pretty card, at least in my opinion. I do want to quickly note that since I turned 18 in December, I am able to use affiliate links now. So in my description, some links may be affiliate links, which means if you purchase through them, I do get a small commission. So if you do want to buy anything you see in this video from Altenew, or if you have anything in your cart from Altenew, it would be great if you use those links in the description because I do get a small commission. So thank you so much. But if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Your presence here watching this video is more than enough. So without further ado, let's get into this video because you need to see this card. At least I think you do. But I think you're going to really enjoy this video. So let's get to it. So today, we're going to be working with the Breezy Petals Build-A-Garden stamp set from November 2024 from Altenew. So this is an oldie but a goodie. And this stamp set, as you can see, features this giant floral image. Now, they have even bigger ones, and while these are gorgeous, sometimes, you just don't want to color it. There is a coordinating stencil, but also that's just a ton of ink blending and pulling out different inks, and maybe you don't have enough inks. So today, I'm going to show you a really, really simple way to make a card out of some giant florals and make it really simple, because crafting doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be super time consuming. We can make really simple but stunning cards. So today, we're going to be doing that with one of my favorite techniques, Emboss Resist. So I have the main floral stamp here, and just for size comparison, this is bigger than an A2 panel. Like, you could maybe just squeeze it on at the right angle, but I'm still have a tiny bit of overhang there. So I'm not going to be stamping on this. I do want to stamp out the whole thing, so I'm going to be stamping it out on a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5 today. Before we do any stamping though, I'm going to be responsible, and I'm going to use some anti-static powder because you know what? Today, we're not do as I say, not as I do. Today, we're monkey see, monkey do, I guess. So you know what? Since I'm using this, you should also use this. And that should be good. With our cardstock coated in anti-static powder, we can now place our floral stamp. So we'll just put it in the center there, and now we can get to stamping. So we're just going to pick this up on the Misty Door, and I'm going to go in with some Wow Embossing Ink. And now we can give it a good stamp. I should really use my pressure tool. I always forget. And I think that's looking pretty good, as you can see it in the shine there. But I always love to be extra sure. So with embossing ink, I always go in a second time. Unless it's like a sentiment. But for something like this, I like to go in a second time, just in case. Rather be safe than sorry, right? And we can stamp that again. So now with our image all inked up in embossing ink, we can go in with some white embossing powder. You could also totally do clear, that will work just as well most of the time with this technique. So if you're doing Emboss Resist, well, really you can use any powder. If you want to use a colorful powder, just make sure it's a fine one and you should be good, but you can really do anything. The only limitation is your imagination. Look at me being motivational over here. So we're just going to give it that paper a good old tap, 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 getting all our excess powder off. It looks like we did a pretty good job there, so maybe I should be using my anti-static powder more. I don't know. Now we're going to get our heat gun nice and hot and heat up our paper and embossing powder and melt that powder from the back. I like to do it from the back because that means the powder is going to stay in place and not blow away. So our flower is all embossed now, and the way I like to double check is just shine it in the light and make sure every area is nice and shining, because if there is an area that's dull and not shining, that means it wasn't melted enough. So just always check, give it that good gloss over, because it's glossy. See what I did there? Ba-dum-bum. Anyways, so just make sure it's shining, and that's one of the easiest ways to tell, just a little tip. So now I'm going to go in with the coordinating die set and use the big coordinating flower die to cut this out. You could technically ink blend first. I personally just like to do the cutting of the flower or whatever image first and then ink blending. Does that mean it's harder to line up? Yes. So, sometimes you do want to just go in, ink blend first, but for my case right now, I'm going to die cut first. Okay, so the die is out, and now I'm just going to line it up, which, like I said, It's harder to get it perfect when you're doing it like this because quite literally white on white, but you know, it can be done. It's at least raised. So I'm just going to tape it in like 3 places to make sure it stays. Oh, I just folded that piece of tape. Wonderful. So now with this all taped, I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. They see me rolling. They hate it. Okay, so we have our flower image here all die cut out. The reason I like to do it beforehand and not after is so I can get the general like sense of the shape of the flower. That way when I go in, because we're going to be cutting parts of it off, and I want to do a gradient when ink blending, I know which part's going to be the bottom and which part's going to be the top. So it just helps me. But like I said, you can do it before you die cut, and it's a lot easier to see the flower. I also really wish I could like fit my electronic Gemini on camera because I use my Gemini a lot too in addition to my Big Shot. It just doesn't fit on camera, so that's why I never show it, but it's always on my desk. So I have my stamp wheel here. There's a little part right there I forgot to pop out. Okay, we're good. So I'm thinking I want this part to be like the bottom, maybe like this, and then this part be the top. So I'll do darker ink blending down here and lighter up here. I just want to check that on a card panel though. So if I do it like this, then, ooh, I think that'll be nice because there'll be just a tiny bit we'll chop off, but then there'll be parts that we don't either. So I think this will be nice, just like this. This will be our bottom and this will be our top. And we can press this down into our grip mat and our stamp wheel. So for the ink blending today, I'm going to be using fuchsia and baby pink, which are both fresh dye inks from Altenew. I do think right now they're 30% off as of like the day this is posting on January 11th. After that, I think the sale will have ended. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll do the fuchsia like down here, maybe up like a third of the way, maybe halfway, and then baby pink will take over. You could totally do this with 1 ink color. You don't need to. You could do it with 3. You could do it with 4. You could do it with 27 if you wanted to, but today we're going to use 2. So I'm going to go in with fuchsia first, like I said, and I'm just inking up one of my Simon Hurley blending brushes, which I've been loving. These are like amazing. And just inking it up here. And I also like to tap off my ink now in the cap because then I can go back and use it later. So we're going to start very light on the bottom here. We're going to come in and just ink blend as one would do. So as we ink blend though, we start to see that flower appearing, which I always love. It's like a special part of the process because you can finally see your work starting to show. I was talking with Charlene Madrid about inks earlier, and she was saying these are one of her favorites. But this blend, y'all, look at that trend. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So I think right here is where I'm going to change my ink. So we're going to put fuchsia away, and we'll take out our baby pink. And like I did before, I'm just going to tap off in the cap. I only started doing this recently, but it's been really, really easy. And yep, there we go. So that blend is going to be so much lighter now, but that's exactly what I wanted. Like we just want it to barely be there by the time we get to the top. So that's exactly what I'm getting, and I'm so happy. Bam! Oh my gosh. Look at this blend. I'm loving it. Ooh, I'm so happy with how this turned out. Our next step is going to be taking some craft color cardstock and doing some very, very, very light stamping on it. When I say light, I mean light because guess what? We're going to use our embossing ink again. So what I'm going to end up doing is we're going to have our floral just like this on the card, right? But that background as of now is a tiny bit dull. But what we can do is just stamp another floral in the back in some embossing ink, and it's going to entirely change up the look. We're actually going to go back in with that Breezy Petals stamp set, but instead of using our big flower again, we're going to end up using the smaller one. And like I said before, we're only going to be using embossing ink with it, which sounds a little crazy, but hear me out, because it's basically going to give us the perfect tone-on-tone inking. And I'm here for a perfect tone-on-tone. Are you? I think you probably are. So we're just going to come in with our lid. We're going to lift it up. So now we're going to do something revolutionary, never done before, can never be replicated or done again. We're going to ink it up. Such a hard step, right? And now we can stamp. And there we go. That's exactly how I want it. So now when we place this down, we're going to have just a little bit of a design right there. I'm also going to do up here now. Also, I do have to say that I did like place everything perfectly. So now when I turn it the 180 degrees, it's going to stamp really well up here too. Yay! So now our background is all done and it's really, really simple, but I think it's going to be the perfect touch for this card because guess what? This card is simple. It's supposed to be simple. I think that's looking gorgeous. I'm loving how this is looking so far. And I think really all that's left to do is just to pop this up with a little bit of foam tape. And guess what? My grandma's friend Lois is coming in clutch again with another roll. So Lois, thank you so much. I just found this again. So I was like, yes, because I needed some and it was perfect. So we're just going to apply this foam tape now onto the back of the flower. Now, I have a question. Are you a rip kind of person with foam tape or are you a pull out the scissors kind of person? I think it just depends on me for the type of tape because there's some tape like when you go to rip it, it'll almost like stretch out. This one isn't doing that, so I'm fine ripping it. But, sometimes you kind of can't almost. So I think that's going to be enough. So we're just going to go with it. So now we can start our peel and reveal that foam tape. Okay, now that I peeled off all the release paper, we can put this down. Normally, I hate this part, but with a flower, it's kind of different because, like, if it's not perfect the way I wanted it, no one will ever know. So, like, it's not like it's a sentiment where it's going to be crooked or, like, some oval or shape where it will also be noticeably off-center. So this is much nicer. And I think we're going to go just like this so we can press. Liking it. I'm liking it. So now all that we really have to do is just come in here and chop off these two little sides. And there we go. Minus putting this on a card base, I think we're done. I really don't want to add a sentiment to this. I think I'm just going to leave it nice and blank. So here is our almost finished card. And for my final act on this card, I have done the intense, crazy step of adding it to a card base and making it an official card. But there we go. I am loving how this came out. I showed it to my grandma. She was loving the ink blend, so my grandma loves it too. So that means it's good. I am so happy with this came out. And we turned a really, really big image that would take a lot of time to color or stencil in and made a really, really fast card with it. My phone died in this filming process and it only took me 20 minutes. So bada bang, bada boom, bada bam, we're done, we're out, and we have a gorgeous card at the end of it. Okay, what do you think about this card? As you know, emboss resist is one of my favorite techniques, so I always love doing it. So I'm so happy to be making this card, making this video, and so happy that you're watching it. So thank you so much for watching. All the products, or I think almost all the products, I've tried to link in the description box below in case you want to check them out, but like I said before, absolutely no pressure. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye everyone, and happy crafting!